Hello and welcome to the first episode of LinkedIn Content Machine by Copostly, behind the scene, stories and strategies to drive LinkedIn success. Today we're going to dive into the topic of how to master your hooks, tone and virality on LinkedIn with two special guests. Sofia Lopatkina, the LinkedIn advisor and the host of the Espresso Shots podcast, and Harry Poku, a founder of the ghostwriting agency and the host of the Gaming Playbook. And I'm your host, Renata Ravilova, a ghostwriter and co-founder of Copostly. Today we're going to go into the depth of the LinkedIn knowledge and learn how to actually build your systems of the content so you'll not burn out, the best practices of the current content creation and hooks generation on LinkedIn, and also how to squeeze out of I don't know what to write on LinkedIn and actually get things done and publish the post. Let's go! Today we are here for a roundtable of ghostwriters on LinkedIn specifically. Amazing people here. So we have Harry Poku, and he is a ghostwriter, outreach lead generator, and he even has his Gaming Playbook podcast and much more events and stuff. And we also have Sofia Lopatkina, ghostwriter, social seller, and also she has a podcast of the
LinkedIn Espresso Shots. Yeah.
LinkedIn Espresso Shots.
I'm a coffee fan.
So I would use a coffee. We are here to discuss on how to master hooks, tone, and virality on LinkedIn. So first of all, I know that not everyone knows who is a ghostwriter. How do you define the ghostwriter yourself? Like, Sophia, let's start with you. So,
I can't say that I'm a ghostwriter because it's much more than just to create posts. Think about, the strategy, because it depends on the goal that you'd like to achieve on LinkedIn. I can say that I'm a LinkedIn advisor that can help with content strategy, content creation, content publication, and everything that's connected with LinkedIn. So whether you need post, whether you need, lead generation, whether you need just brand awareness, I can help you with, because ghostwriter, it's just about post, but maybe I'm wrong. So maybe you disagree with me, but I think that it's much more than just to create and just to make posts. I would say like that.
Hey, how about you, Harry? What do you think? Who is a ghostwriter?
So I guess I identify as a ghostwriter, more of a marketing agency, and we ghostwrite as one of the things that we do. So there's a assumption that some people make where they think ghostwriting is more what I call air writing, where like I'm a founder, I need to put some content on LinkedIn. We want to talk about these pain points and keywords. Let me go make up some content and then just post it on my account. Some people think that's ghostwriting, which I guess that's 1 out of 10 ghostwriting. Probably don't do that. And what I'd say we do is we interview effectively. We have a mini podcast once a month with the client, preparing some stories from the past or some of their kind of things that are happening right now, like trending articles. They give their commentary on it, and then we do the legwork of then making that into a piece of content in their voice, because they literally said it in their voice, and then they can approve it and then post it on their account. So that's what I call LinkedIn ghostwriting. And to make sure that gets more kind of value, similar to Sophia, we make sure that there's a strategy in place. Why are we posting content? Who are we connecting to? And then the other pieces of the puzzle that fit in. So that's what I call ghostwriting.
So it's like one of the part of the strategies, right, for the like lead generation stuff, depending on force of goals. Actually, I also realized I forgot to introduce myself. So let's get back to it just quickly, because it's hard to be like both, I would say, leading the roundtable and being a part of it as well. So my name is Renata Ravilova, and I'm part of Copostly. So we did like a SaaS tool for the writing on LinkedIn, and I also started with the ghostwriting itself. And I do agree that ghostwriting is one of the approaches that you do to get the results like that you are looking for. And I love how you can help founders to transfer their voice and their thoughts. It's not like we're coming up with some the random stuff, right? And transfer their voice and knowledge to the audience on LinkedIn, to the right audience, also important, right? And this way you get desired goals, like, for example, potential like clients, like leads, investments as well, right? Partnerships and stuff. And for me, like I love personally LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a pretty cool platform. And I know for sure, I think you're enjoying that a lot as well. Also, I prepared a couple of questions for our joint conversations and also several specific ones to discuss later on, like on one-on-one kind of definition. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, as we define this also roundtable, is also a lot about the hooks, about how to grab attention, because this is quite important, right, on LinkedIn. So if you can share like your best practices in terms of the hooks, that will be really great. Let's start with you, Harry, now.
Alrighty. So yeah, some quick context for people. This is based on I've written probably over 1,000 posts plus in the last couple of years, and client posts also 1,000 posts. So some of those I've reviewed. So this is just based off what's working for us now, I guess, in the games industry. So we recently changed the way we do hooks, actually. So about 3 to 4 months ago, it was much more, I guess, LinkedIn-y type of hooks. It's like, hey, don't do this, do this. Or it was more like, I'm this very important thing. Here's my strategy. And we found that maybe because of AI, maybe because of changing habits, people are being a bit kind of, that's too much. And they're scrolling past. You need the hook to feel genuine. And essentially, we break it down to two parts now. So if you're doing a story post versus an insight post, we need to just decide, is this post just going to be a story with a small insight at the end? Or is this post going to be full insight? We need to just very specific of what that is. So, for example, if it's a story post, there's going to be a picture of us doing it. There's some transformation, first person voice, and there's like an emotional stakes involved. Where if it's an insight post, we're going to start with some real world context. Like, I know what I'm doing here. Here's something, for example, like last week, I spoke with a founder scaling a 10-person AI company. Here's what we talked about, insight. So it's not much of a story, but it's still starting with some credibility. Where with the story post, it will start with, for example, we just hit 7 figures, but 2 years ago, I had $0 to my name and I was scanned by my first client. So it's some credibility, but then we're still starting with the story, and then it's then going to continue the story. So to kind of recap some advice quickly here is we need to really speak like directly to the audience, not like top 10 list. We just want to say like specifically to you, like here's why you need to be on these discords. Here's the 10 the ones that I've joined. So it sounds like it's a text to a friend. And what we found working really well right now is if you can talk about something that's trending or that's something that people already know about, you can use names that have existing attention. An example, if the Minecraft movie was coming out, you probably saw a few posts on the feed.
Yeah.
Naturally, you probably stopped and looked at them. So if you can use existing attention in the hook, for example, when you go to a conference, people are already looking at that type of content. So if you can leverage that, that's also a good thing for the hook. So just to recap, hook is the first 3 lines. We need to give them a reason to click see more. And for me, I want to make sure I do a couple things. I just want to make sure I've established why this is going to be worth their time and also explain what they're going to learn from it if we're on LinkedIn, which we are. So this is why it's worth your time because I've done this thing or it feels like insider knowledge. And number 2, like what am I going to learn from see more? So that's how I think about hooks now.
Thank you for sharing also like the transition, how it was before and how it is now. So people will also understand how to approach this differently. Well, how about you, Sophia? What do you think about it?
I actually agree with everything. And last month, one of my clients got almost 1 million impressions on LinkedIn. So based on this experience and based on my experience, I'd like to focus on 3 main points. I think it's like one of the most important content hooks nowadays, especially because everything is changing so fast. So you should always follow the trends. So yes, as Harry already said, the first 2 lines matter most. And because according to last LinkedIn algorithms, it's very important to get people to click see more, to increase the dwell time. So that's why I like to make the first sentences a bit, provocative, a bit disruptive. For example, a recent post of my client went viral, and I think one of the reasons was the hook and the first sentence. We made it like your LinkedIn connections mean nothing, and then we explained why real engagement matters more than just numbers. Why it's very important to build this connection with real person and build like long-term relationships with them. So yes, I love using this kind of hook. I mean, put something bold in the first sentence because I'd like to grab my audience attention.
Yeah.
Then the second one, I think I always include a clear call to action at the end because people engage more when you ask them to engage with your post. That's just based on my experience, because if I want, for example, comments, I ask a specific question. If I want them to make a repost of my publication, I just say like, make a repost. Maybe someone needs to hear that today. So I think it's better to guide people what action you want from them. And the last point that I try to think that topic can be a hook itself, because some topics almost always catch attention. For example, I like to read posts about specific numbers. I mean, in terms of income, in terms of salary. I like to read posts with the failure. Oh my god, I want to give all of my support at the moment when I read this post about kids or a family or something like that, something personal. So just two examples. One of my most popular LinkedIn posts titled like how I lost 6,000 on my self-employed journey. And another example, I've tested twice for two different clients and it worked perfectly. We discussed with Harry about failure posts. Harry, do you have a question, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I'm curious. I can ask a quick question, Renata, to Sophia. So we've done a few failure posts like Hero's Journey, but sometimes the founder is quite nervous of doing it. And then also someone who's maybe listening to this is also sharing that. Like, I understand I need to show my lows so, people can like hear the story, but like there's a good way and a bad way probably. So I'm wondering, Sophia, like how do you approach a failure-based hook?
I think that it's a great way to show that you're just a human. You're just a human and you can't be always on the top, and it's absolutely normal. It's absolutely okay to have such difficult situation, such tough situation, and maybe sometimes today you fail, but tomorrow you become the best of the best. And I think that people nowadays are very tired of such excitement posts that I'm thrilled to announce that I have $1 million for as an investment. No, people want to see that that their audience is like human, is they have the same situations, and I think such posts can help with this goal. And I think it's very important not just to describe the situation itself, but to mention the lessons learned after that and how you maybe improve or how you change your approach, because this is about not your weakness, it's about your power. And I think if the total sense would be about what this situation taught you, I think it would be a nice publication for LinkedIn, because people want to see something real, not a successful success, because like we should be more human on LinkedIn, and this is a global trend I think nowadays on this platform. And I'm super happy that nowadays people try to show more and more their personal stories, failures, and real emotions. Just focus on lessons you learned from this situation and how you change your attitude, approach, whatever.
I think for the skeptical founders that they don't really feel like sharing their failures, what can work is like do the post failure win. So like first you fail, maybe you don't tell everyone at the same time you fail, but then you kind of get back on your feet and even double the results, for example. It's easier to share because at the end you are the winner, so nobody will ever see you as a like weakness or something. For me though, in terms of hooks, what I realized that hooks is also a lot not about only the text and 3 lines, but for me, hook is also image. Like I've been experimenting a lot with this, infographics. I really like the website that you shared, Sophia, for the free infographic stuff. I already tested out. It's cool. And then maybe some visuals, even add on selfies of the founders, etc. Some maybe text is also I guess increases the like a draw time that you just like stay and try maybe to read, okay, what is there, like, and I think like also approach a lot of things like something you don't understand but it sounds interesting also works in terms of hooks, so you want to discover that more.
Absolutely.
I want to add one thing. I did a failure-based hook about, what, 8 months ago, and I lost 2 clients this month, but it ended up being okay. But it's so funny. The I ended up being okay was below the hook. So a lot of people actually just saw me doing this, which was the image, and then me saying I lost 2 clients. And I'm like expecting everyone to click see more and read it. But then one of my clients said, sorry about you losing your clients. It's like, if you read the post, it was okay. So like, to make it really clear, don't wait till like the end of the post to say, hey, everything turned out okay.
Yeah.
I would almost always try to show it in the actual hook, or at least the first thing, just so it's really crystal clear, like everything's okay now. Or even if it's not 100% okay, that you've made an attempt at a recovery. Just so people don't leave the post thinking, boo-hoo. You don't want to be a victim. You want to be a hero. Like, they want to see themselves in you as a positive thing. So yeah, even if you do win and the loss, don't bury the win at the bottom. Like, put it right at the top, just so people don't forget.
I want to see such post on your newsfeed, so I'm gonna check it after
Yeah,
our call.
I'll bring it up now. I'm gonna look for it now, see if I can learn something
8
more.
months ago. I think like in general, just to conclude this, like hooks is very crucial, because we already learned from this conversation that if people do not press the more, they don't dwell on your post, your image, and etc., then you lose them, and you also lose the opportunity for an extra push from LinkedIn, right, to the audience on a third degree. That's why we also in Compostly we try to integrate like a hook generator, because sometimes you are thinking, okay, what should I do there, it should be a question hook, or maybe expertise hook, or like curious hook, or bold hook, or whatever, and like based on the contents that usually that you'll put in, like it will provide you 2 variations and also kind of a score which variation will work best for this kind of context and why. Wanted to go deeper in, as we talked about the best cases of the hooks, how about the type of the content that is currently performing for you, especially on LinkedIn's, and like for you and your clients at this moment? Is it more emotionally driven? Is it like a boldsy? Is it like more a templates, or it's like a storytelling and stuff? Sophia, let's start with you.
I'd like to start with the content formats of vacations. I see lots of great posts with infographics and with carousels, and because they are visual and very easy to share, especially when you have some frameworks or data. For example, you can make a post 10 best AI tools that I use every day for my LinkedIn, or something like that. It's very easy to make a repost and to make people leave comment. I love infographics and carousels a lot. Then, of course, video format, especially when it's not overproduced, because I know some people, they even have 20 person that help them to make a video, and it was the video are really like perfect. But I like when it's not such over-prepared, because it helps build trust, loyalty of your audience. So yes, a video, especially short with like some bold statement. I think that's nowadays it's one of the most famous and popular content formats. I know that it's not so popular nowadays, but I still really love text-only posts. And sometimes I can post such kind of publications on my page, for example, something like Friday's reminder, and then my wise thoughts about work-life balance or whatever, especially when I want to highlight something very short, but strong in terms of sense. So yes, this type of content can help you get more impressions, more views. And if we're talking about like tone of voice, I think that emotional, because today people are more about value, are more about authenticity, are more about like real personal content. That's what Harry told like 10 minutes ago, that today it's not about like do this and don't do this. People are tired of such kind of contents.
I'm quite surprised though to hear that video format is performing. I didn't know that it's like good for especially impressions. I know like video is really good when you want to kind of connect with your audience on a deeper level, right? Because they can like see you more, the way you talk and that kind of stuff. But like in terms of the impressions rate, how is it going?
It depends on the topic, because if your audience find your topic, find your video like interesting for them, relevant for them, the video can reach thousands of impressions. For example, my client got almost 1 million impressions just from one video.
Really?
But the point is that if you want to make a video content, you should do it like on a regular basis. For example, you can't just make one video or case studies. It's better to make like a video post on a regular basis, not just today is Thursday and I decided to make a video post and then the next one will be like in a year. No, it won't work this way. So if you want to make a video content, like that's a top idea. But you should be prepared to make it regularly.
Just my recent example, I had my one video go quite, I guess, viral-ish. It got 14,000 impressions, but I had a link to my podcast in the post, and LinkedIn now tells you how many people clicked the links in your post, which is as of like last week. So it shows me I had 240 people click the link and then go watch the podcast on YouTube. And what I read someone say recently is LinkedIn understands what your video is about by reading your post, the caption, because they can't actually they don't transcribe the captions and then take that into account to decide who to serve it to. They decide based on the actual words. And when I look at that post and why it performed, the caption was about pitching, and he actually had stupid amount of like keywords because it was like 10 chapters. And then I posted one today, which was about LinkedIn. It got 2 clicks to watch the podcast. That's fine. The main thing I found, like video is, in my opinion, high investment, Sophia, like mentally and also just like time. So if you're going to do it 1, 2 videos a week. And honestly, I guess 80% of the attention should be on like, what's the hook going to be for this video? What's the topic? And then you can do it very organically. Like what Sophia said, doesn't have to be crazy edits, just captions. Just get captions and then nice cuts. Definitely video can do well.
And what else, like in terms of the content, is performing for you right at the moment?
I don't know why. I see on my feed everyone saying LinkedIn's dying. I don't understand what they are talking about because like, it's fine. Maybe if they're, because I know some friends also saying they're not getting a lot of content. I'm not seeing it. So what's working? Let's have a look. I have an analytics calls for all my clients. So let's look at everything in June and the best hooks, because that will probably be helpful. So the best hooks in June, I will read, and then we can probably see a pattern somewhere. This is probably a good exercise for me. So it's loading, but here we go. So this is one where we broke down a game. So a game sold 14 million copies at $10. Why? That got 30,000 impressions, and that was by a founder breaking down the game. Another one is in Q2, this game had more downloads than 4 puzzle games combined. Why? 15,000 impression. The other one is why 9 out of 10 game design graduates never ship a game. Why did that do well? 250 likes, 12,000 impressions. A lot of these in the games industry is like breaking down game is doing really well right now. And the other one is about like, this is a way someone describes it. Don't do this instead. Set this tone in the hook. Like you're going to talk about something. It's like, this is what's happening. This is what we should do instead. That seems to be doing okay. Also, there's one post that did really well for one of our clients, over 200 likes. And it was just a short story of, and I don't want to talk about this specific client, but essentially, someone sent us an email. We thought it was a joke, but that someone was like a really, really big company. And then they told the story, and it was like, haha, we like ignored them completely. Then we realized they weren't trying to scam us. And then very nice story happened. It was like a nice little something short and sweet. They weren't trying to teach you much. It was just like, hey, by the way, check your emails. That did really, really well. So yeah, for all the posts that I've done like over 100 likes, it's a lot more around kind of do this instead of this content and breaking down things that already have attention. Also, what Sophia said earlier, as humans, try to imagine someone as an Instagram user. How do you engage with your friends and family? You see an engagement photo, you're going to obviously like them, otherwise you're the rudest person in the world. If someone has a baby, you have to like that. If someone's doing a post where they're talking about a failure, you have to support them. And also, if someone's got a new job on LinkedIn, what's everyone's reaction? Everyone's liking that post. So if you can make the post feel like a celebration or a milestone, you just get built-in more attention. So even if it's not a milestone, for example, we just hit 1,000 posts. This is what we're doing differently now. That seems like a celebration. I even done this recently where you just put the celebration popping emoji just so you really hit it home that I'm celebrating right now. And my quick advice here is like every month I round up the last month and say, we hit this new goal. Here's what I learned. It always does really, really well for me. So if there's a way to turn your post into a milestone for you personally, then you're going to get that mindset come in where they're going to want to engage.
I have a great story here about personal milestone. And because recently, like 2 months ago, maybe I made a post about like, I'm thrilled to announce, like I specifically use these AI, words that I finally changed my LinkedIn background because the last one was with me for maybe 6 years or maybe 5 years, and now I change it. My friend, he's a designer, helped me with this, so I make one like specific post about this milestone that I finally changed my LinkedIn background. That's very interesting that the people who typically do not engage with my post, they reacted, they put likes. It's a very great piece of advice because for me it was a really big deal as a milestone.
I just checked your post now, and all the people engaging, they're like executives and the decision makers, right? There's like a vice president of communications, she's laughing emoji. So it brings the people who don't typically engage out. And I found that those type of people pretty much never engage with like my educational content. But if I do a post about like, should I do it? And I have a picture of Crocs with my name on it, they all show up there. They're like, I can't risk looking weird to my network. I can just be kind of the easiest way to see my professors from university to like my post was when you like announce a love story or like you announce something like as an announcement, right? Because everyone's like, okay, I'll come. I'm here again. But then when sometimes I talk to them, I've been following you for 8 months. I read every post, but they're never engaged because they don't want to kind of look weird. To recap that as tactical advice, just like celebrate more, celebrate yourself, but obviously give a lesson.
And also what I noticed that is working pretty good for me and well, like I experimented with the clients is first of all, don't be ashamed of repeat success. Like, for example, if you saw something was working for you last month, like maybe it's gained some like most traction, right? So why not to try and repeat this as a format? Maybe is like it was a photo, maybe it was a story, but try to maybe spice it up with a different angle or maybe different perspective, maybe different characters, whatever. And that really worked. Like I used to, for one of the clients, she had a successful post back in days, and I said, okay, like this looks cool. Like why not to kind of try reinvent it? So we added like a different figures to that, and boom, 1 month it got X10 like first impressions. It was like maybe around 50,000-60,000 impression, and then next month we decided to repeat it again and also different characters, but it hit like 400,000 impressions. It was like, what the hell? Like, I think we all were surprised, but of course pleasantly. So for sure, like it can even improve by time by trying to repeat the like previous working attempts. So I know some people, like I already posted about it like, a month ago, but like whatever. Like, first of all, maybe not everyone saw it at that time, right? So maybe there'll be more people like seeing, besides like through months, month to month, you do grow your audience more or less. Like you can do the inbound, for example, right? Some people are starting following you more. So there'll be no new people who would never maybe go through your feed like 8 months ago, right? But you can tell that like story again, and look, nobody cares as well. I think on LinkedIn, just in general, like care less about like what people think, how they will remember you, etc. Of course, you need to define maybe your core values and like how you approach content, what you'll be talking about, and etc. But I think experimenting a lot, it's in general is working. And also what I noticed is also trying to spot on, I would say, the trends and like working formats, right? I know for sure, like, this, like, for example, me in 2020, right? Like, I know, broke, devastated, girlfriend broke up with me, and me in 2025, successful, like money, like wife, whatever. So, like, this kind of, for example, this is a performing format, and you can integrate it for you, or like specific storyline, or maybe 10 red flags of this, 10 red flags of that. So this type of content also can perform better as if you see like and spot on that this is performing for somebody, you can adapt that and use it also in your strategies.
1000%. Like I was gonna say, but you said it really well there. The thing that people, first of all, they don't care about your post, right? Like my dad liked my post, and I said, "Oh, what did you think?" He's like, "Oh, there's a see more button." He didn't know. So like some people just don't read anything, right? So they're just like, first of all, assume no one really understands. But there are definitely people who read it. But then Renata, I think I know the post you were referring to. You remixed it. It's a different post. But for us internally, it feels very same. It's the same story, it's the same points, but it's a different visual, maybe a slightly different hook, slightly different angle that you focused on. So it is effectively a brand new post for others. But for us, it's like, it only took me 5 minutes. I feel like I've cheated, but like no one knows that. So that's the cool thing. And then you don't have to do this only on your content. Well, I do this all the time. I see a post I really, really like. I'm like, cool, I'm going to do my version. And I'm not copy pasting it and changing the words. I'm just like, I like the way he communicated, like the visual flow of this post. So I'm going to get remix what's working, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And this is actually an important point, Renata. Like some of these posts, they get what we feel like crazy impression, like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, maybe a million on a video. We won't know unless we try different stuff. And I feel like if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, trying to improve the hook a little bit, but sometimes you need to do something completely different. And you won't know what is different unless you actually, in my opinion, like use LinkedIn, see what's out there, and like see, well, okay, what's performing for other people? What's their best post? So definitely want to be in the thick of it in the terms of like, let's see what other people are doing. What do you engage with? Really? Like some of the stuff that I see my friends post, I'm like, I'm not reading that. Because from the hook, I don't think I'm going to get something. But like I see a hook from the same people about to tell a story. I'm like, oh, let me learn something. Why did I make that decision? So you can kind of, the answers within yourself at some point, like why are you skipping all these posts? Would you skip your post? I found that when I looked at some of my posts, I showed it to my sister. She was there. I was like, can you give me feedback? And she's like, what does that mean? What does this mean? I'm like, God damn it. Like, this is only making sense to my LinkedIn bubble. So then we changed it and then the post did well. I was like, ah, so sometimes literally just reading it as if, okay, like I'm not in my bubble. Would I skip this? I'm like, shit, yeah, I would skip my post. So you want to make sure you do those things.
That's cool. And I hear that all your family's on LinkedIn. Like I cannot even like
I
use
forced them. It's like, do you read my content? Because they asked me like, what's happening with the business? Just follow me on LinkedIn. I'm not going to post it every day. And now my mum, my dad, and my sister, and my both brothers, they all like my post. And I'm like, I've got my own little pod community. If they have Foku on the end, they're liking my post, and I'm accepting that.
So I also have a dedicated question to both of you. First of all, Sophia, how do you choose the best working approach to a specific founder? I know some, for example, want maybe, or they don't know what they want, for example, right? And there's several approaches like founder kind of media, like sharing the news, being on the top of the trends, that kind of stuff. Then we see founders doing like viral post after viral post, like we did this, like you need to comment, like you need to, like we'll share this. And then we also have kind of more vanilla founders where they're like more like sharing stories and just, doing a lot of storytelling and stuff. So how do you approach that?
I work both with corporates, with small startups, with influencers, and yes, approach is different. But we start with the goal that we'd like to achieve on LinkedIn, and during this process, I look at how they naturally communicate because it's very important to keep that authenticity across all types of content, no matter what it's expert content or a personal story. I want want to keep my clients' authenticity no matter what. Talk about main goal, because it's the question, what do we need from LinkedIn? Because if we're talking about like corporate top managers, corporate big bosses, it's usually about company brand awareness, usually about hiring and corporate brand. If we talk about like founders, solopreneurs, influencers, it's usually about personal brand, about personal visibility, about attraction of potential clients, partners, whatever. And I think in this process, it's very crucial to organize the process for getting information. That's very important point, this question, because I use different approaches depending on personal style and on schedule. For example, with one client, we have regularly weekly calls where they answer my questions and share their personal opinions, because for them, it's very important to see the face, to have a real talk with a real human and have a real conversation. With another client, we have a different setup because he's extremely busy with the endless business trips. He sent me voice messages, and that works great for both of us. And another example, I work with a influencer with the millions of followers, and in that case, I use their other social media content as the main source for LinkedIn, and then I adapt all information that I get for LinkedIn specifically, and I just know the content hook that I want to try in that case, and just take the main information, and prepare LinkedIn newsletter or a post or a video. Yeah. And another point that I try to balance personal and professional content, because as I already said, nowadays it's very important to show your personality on LinkedIn. Find out that for some people it's very hard to talk about something personal, family, or even friends or vacations, whatever. They prefer to speak just about professional insights, some milestones regarding work life. So yes, I try to find the topics that fit this goal and that help us to bring the audience loyalty. And yes, that the approach may be different in this way, because founders and solopreneurs, they very openly share what's going on in their personal life. But so if we are talking about some top managers, C-level guys from corporate companies, it's not so easy to get this information, but when you describe why you need it, they say, okay, let's do it.
That's great. And the fact that you also mentioned that sometimes you see a hook that they want to use, and then you think of the content that can be implemented as well. So you're also going from that direction. Sometimes at first the content and then the hook. Sometimes, How about you, Harry? How do you drive leads on different levels? Share some of your system if you can.
Alrighty. 3 ways to get leads for us anyway. So content, that means completely inbound. So we post content, they view your profile, then they book a call, usually with a painkiller session. So most of the companies we help are service providers, and they effectively have a discovery call. So the first thing we usually do is reframe that discovery call as a painkiller audit. So in my example, I will audit your LinkedIn process and then give you my advice. But it's just a sales call as well. But you frame it as what is actually going to happen. You're still going to give them advice. And a lot of our clients give a lot of advice, sometimes over 2 hours, which they could charge for what it is. It's an audit. So that's just from the content. And to get that from content, you want to be doing posts about 2 different ways. So top of funnel and bottom of funnel content. So around 80% would just be top of funnel. And for us, that just means it's a story post or an insight post. And we just rotate those 2, personal, business-wise. And then usually once a week or every 2 weeks, we just do a case study post. I do it every Monday now. I actually stopped for a few months, but I'm started them again. And I did my first one in a few months on Monday, and I got 2 calls from it. So it's a very simple formula. So to get a call from LinkedIn for me is I do a screenshot of a client giving me a compliment, and I blur their name. And then I say, we just did this amazing thing for our client. Context on what I do. Here's some wins that we had. Here's what we're doing for all our founders. Let me know if you want this too. Very simple. So it's very shameless promotion. And that seems to do okay. So that's content. And if it's okay, I'll just go through the other 2. So the second one is outreach. So a big thing that's been a development for us. So last year we were only building LinkedIn lists of people to contact manually using Sales Navigator. And that took a lot of time. we found that a lot of the founders, they understood what companies they want to get into, but like no one's done the effort of finding who's the decision maker in that company that we should send a connection request to, and then hopefully they start seeing the content and then start a conversation. So we've taken that on, and obviously, as we get more clients, there's more time going in, so we had to kind of make it quicker. So now there's a tool, if anyone's listening, it's called Leads Picker, and basically it's changed the game for us. It automatically, with AI, reads the profile, goes on the website, and reads their website, and then double checks if they're the right person. This just saves so much time. So we have a system where it scrapes all their engagement. It scrapes their profile views. It scrapes the people from a certain domain list that they have. It's just really nice. And long story short, we're building a list to send a connection request to. And then you could do this with software or you can do it manually. You can just use Leads Picker to get you the spreadsheet. And we make sure we're sending 100 connections a week. You can do more if your accept rate's pretty good. But to be safe, 100 a week. Everyone who says yes, we thank them. Hey, thanks for accepting. Have a great day. And then usually the next day, I just do a permission-based opener. So I compliment something they've done in their career or the business did well. And then I just say, hey, we do this thing for your competitor. We worked with a friend of yours. Can I share more about what we do? Hope you're having a good time. And as soon as they say yes, then I can pitch. It's just a very process. Like you don't have to spend too much time thinking of like flirting with the guys. Like, hey, how you doing? How's the kids? Like, it's just a nice, simple approach. If they say no, no worries. And the third thing is conferences. So same principle on conferences. There's two ways to book a meeting. You can go there and mingle. There's usually a meeting platform. If it's meet to match, it's quite standard. You send your 20 or 30 requests, 10 or 15 will accept. Boom, you have 15 meetings. But also on LinkedIn, a lot of people change their name. So I changed my headline, for example, soon develop Brighton. So if you search develop Brighton, you will then see like 20 people going or 100 people going to develop Brighton. Send them all a connection request. Hey, hopefully see you in Brighton. Dance emoji. That's what I do. And then around 50% will accept. And then you can say, hey, are you attending because of this reason? Love to chat. And then you can get a lot of meetings that way. So to recap, we post content, which helps the other two things, by the way. Higher accept rate for the outreach and higher reply rate for conferences. And then number two, we actually make sure we're sending our connection requests and then starting conversations by building a list. If you want to make it fast and pay money, use Leads Picker. Otherwise, you can manually build one on Sales Navigator. It will just take you a few hours. And then number three, definitely go to events. I've noticed like every industry, there's a construction event going on. There's a games industry event. There's a founder event. There's usually an event somewhere. Just use an event because it makes everything nice. Like if someone says no to a pitch, they might probably say yes in person. So like instead of asking to pitch them, you can say, hey, are you going Brighton? And they say, yes, great, we should meet. Great, you just booked a discovery call and it's in person. So it's worth a lot more. So definitely leverage events if you're in an industry which is specific. So those are the three ways we do it.
Awesome. Yeah, and combining them, I think you get the best results. I wanted to dive deep is in how AI is going to change the ghostwriting industry or like content creation in general. Well, in my personal opinion, I think it's actually going to grow the ghostwriting in general because ghostwriters are not going anywhere. And even though you can do like content creation with ChatGPT or the platform that we are developing, Copostly, but I don't think that ghostwriters are fully replaceable. I mean, like, especially if you already got the money and you're already willing to spend it for like a personal VIP experience. I think there will be always like requests for that. And in terms of AI in general, I think it's really helps to speed up the process, helps with the ideation, right? Helps with maybe different perspectives. That's also even with the creativity and the structure. So I think AI is here to stay. Of course, like maybe the tools that are just doing something more simple or copy pasting what's already existing, like maybe they will go out. But for example, what we are aiming for in our service is to help actually to do a different, like several layers of the kind of your profile, like your tone of voice and etc. So it's just literally you doing the posts, not just like AI is for you. It just helps more with the structure. How about you? What do you think, guys, will happen with the AI content creation?
I agree absolutely with what you said. I think that ghostwriters are not replaceable because in my experience, there wasn't a single post that I didn't edit myself even ChatGPT. I love this tool recently. Even if it's like a really great content in a viral style and with a catchy, I don't know, content hook, I always edit something and put something from my own experience, from my own vision. So I think that you can, with the AI tools in general, you can just work with more clients and profiles. It will go pretty well. But no, I think human attitude is not replaceable, and that's a good idea. That's a good news for all of us.
How about you, Harry? What do you think?
You can't outsource taste, and AI hasn't got taste, but AI is really good at organizing stuff. So if I can just break down what ghostwriting is, at least for us, is like we need to come up with questions to ask the founder. AI is very good at helping me by giving me 30 questions and I can pick the best 10. Amazing. I still need taste to pick the best 10, but I don't have to manually write 30 questions and then think about it. I can get AI to be like, go look at our past 5 conversations and then reference stuff that we might have not uncovered before.
Yeah.
AI is really good at that. And then after we have that conversation, what does AI do? It transcribes the call. Amazing. Then I can get AI to look at that transcript and then find more ideas that I may have missed, even though I've manually been typing notes. And then when it comes to drafting the content, at least for us, it's very good at giving you options. So we might have an idea for a post, but like I just can't think of what do I do as the hook here. So Renata, I'll be curious to test your product. Like we've built some Claude prompts, which give me 15 different versions of hooks, which are similar to this style. So AI is really good at doing exactly what you tell it to do. If you tell it make a LinkedIn post, it will suffer because there's taste involved. And also, if it was really good at making a LinkedIn post, then everyone would do it like that. And then by default, because everyone's doing a post like that, then the post that you do with AI look like AI. And if anyone feels like the post is AI, we do it all the time. If you look at something and you think it's AI, you don't want to engage. You just go, you just scroll on. So it's long story short, ghostwriters, there's actually so few of them. It looks like there's loads of them, but there's so few that actually have a lot of clients. For example, I was doing a thing today with a client and they said they need to do due diligence on me because the founder wanted to have options. And he said, I was doing some research for ghostwriters and I couldn't find any. And I was like, nice. Because there's just very few. Because ghostwriting's hard. Like Sophia probably can attest, you guys can attest. Like we're having calls with the people, thinking about it. It's a lot of mental energy. Even if it takes 4 hours to write a month worth of posts, it takes so much mental energy. And like, yeah, there's only so much mental energy people have. So like, I think Sophia, I saw you did a post like you took a break from your own content. I did that recently. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of energy. We only got so much energy in the day. It's not about
that was exactly my like personal failure. Yes, that I'm burnt out. Was burnt out. Yeah, that was my period.
So yeah, ghostwriting's not going anywhere because founders are being founders, especially like if they're a product-based founder, they have to learn what people care about BD wise, and they have to learn how to write. Like, why should you learn all those skills? You should know what good looks like and have a taste for sure. You should probably try, but if you're making any decent amount of money and you're doing B2B, it doesn't hurt to either get coaching or a ghostwriter. So yeah, to answer the question, AI is not really doing it's not putting anyone out of business, at least anyone that is doing the level of ghostwriting we're doing. If you're doing air writing, you're going to suffer, yeah, because that's easily duplicatable.
So I also think that's like the big minus, especially like, you know, the let's say like ChatGPT, even Claude, that you don't know how to maybe program it like correctly for you. Like there, like you still need to know, like, you know, marketing basis, like business development, sales, like what to put it, how to address the pain points, what are the pain points, and that kind of stuff. And I think this is what ghostwriters usually do, and that's what at least we're also trying to implement in our platform as well, just to give a more like marketing based approach, not just sound like you or something. It was fun. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Bye bye.